Hello, everyone. Derek Floyd here, Beautiful Now Podcast. Welcome to Beautiful Now Live. It's a great time to have our lunchtime chat with our special guest, where we try to bring you relevant topics that matter to you now, but hopefully want to leave you a little bit more uplifted, a little bit more encouraged, and hopefully inspired. With everything that's going on in our current world today with COVID 19, today's topic is pretty important, talking about staying connected in a digital world where we see our schools are closed and our churches, we can't even gather to worship, we can't go out to restaurants. It's difficult to stay close and stay connected to friends and family. And the guest we have today is going to talk about how they've used technology to keep a whole congregation together. Now, if you can imagine, this gentleman here works for one of the largest, fastest growing churches in the nation called Elevation here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And of course, he's been working with an amazing author, speaker, Pastor Stephen Furtick. And his name that we're going to talk about today is Derek Redfearn. He's the Executive E-Group Director for the Lake Norman campus. Derek, are you there, buddy?
I'm here.
How you doing out there, my friend?
Hey, I'm blessed. I'm doing well.
Looks like you're enjoying a nice afternoon on the porch, man.
No, I can't complain about a thing. I got the birds outside. I got deer walking around in the woods and feeling good.
Is that woods behind your house? Let me see the back there. That looks gorgeous back there.
Hold it up. Let me show you guys. Yeah, so here's my woods. Every so often I'll get a family of deer that just walks around, but yeah.
Oh, that's got to be nice, man. So
life is good.
So this isn't too bad for you staying at home then.
Oh, not at all. I want to go camping, Derek. I got a tent. We can make some s'mores.
Oh, s'mores. I'm in, man. Count me in. Count me in.
I think there should be a Beautiful Now live video from the woods.
I am so about it. Let's plan it. Let's plan it, brother. Let's plan it. Man, thank you for taking a few minutes to stop and see our friends here at the Beautiful Now Live. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about how to stay connected in this digital world and what you've done with your team over at Elevation Lake Norman. It really seems to me to be a miracle. I attend Lake Norman myself. I've been there for a couple of years now and really enjoy the congregation. But when COVID-19 came about and we had to split up, I thought, how am I going to really stay connected to the people that I've met, to my campus pastor and so forth? And what you guys have done a little bit is really show how to make this work with digital technology. Tell me a little bit more about the Elevation Church history first, though.
Yeah, so Elevation.
We lost you for a second there, buddy. Come on
Charlotte.
back, see if you're there. Let's try again. Say it again.
I'm here.
There you go. Yeah, we lost you for a second. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So Elevation started back in 2005, and it launched with 8 families who sold their homes, sold their houses, moved to Charlotte to help plant this church. And so within a few years, Elevation became one of the fastest growing churches in the nation. And now we're seeing really over 30,000 or so in attendance locally, which now that's been impacted because we're not able to meet locally. So now we meet online. And what's cool is we're seeing upwards of 180, 200,000 people watching online through our online viewership. And so it's pretty cool. It's an amazing church. And we've got over 20 campuses.
Wow.
from Toronto, Canada to Orlando, Florida, all up and down the East Coast. And
well, that's amazing all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell me a little bit about what you do as your title of E-Group Director. What does that mean?
Yeah, so my job really in our church is to help a big church feel small, if that makes sense. And so when you walk into one of our campuses, Lake Norman has about 3,000 people in attendance, 2,500 to 3,000. And so when you walk in, and if you're a first-time guest or something like that, it's going to feel pretty overwhelming. But with the E-Group community, the goal is really to help people connect and find community and build their faith. Because statistics show that when you're plugged into a group, and you have a friendship community, that you're likely to attend church and you're likely to be there. So most people want to go where their friends are. And so I don't know about you, Derek, but if I have friends in church, then it's gonna get me there a lot quicker than if I didn't know anybody or if I wasn't connected. And so the goal is community. The goal is community, and it's to build faith as well. And so this is how we do it.
Well, you manage what we've a terminology back at the church would call e-groups, and tell me a little bit about what e-groups is all about.
Yeah, so we use this language with an e-group leader. When we launch an e-group and we get an e-group leader commissioned to go out to start a group, we really use the language that you're a shepherd. And so if you lead an e-group, that you're somebody who cares for, shepherds, looks after a group of people, somewhere between 12 to 20 people. And so really that's how a group leader thinks. It's not just about delivering a curriculum, it's not just about doing a teaching, but it's about helping people feel connected. And so when you have a staff, so our staff is about 10 people, but we have about 150 e-group leaders. And so when you got a larger campus, these e-group leaders are able to look after more people and care for more people. And so that's really the purpose. That's the goal of it. We want people to grow. We want people to be discipled. But really the underlying factor is care. And so we want to be a campus that cares for everybody, and every prayer request is heard and everyone is seen and known. So that's the
So,
goal.
so mentioning that, then saying e-groups is more of like a home group. Pre-corona, you would meet in homes, but now that corona is here, how is technology helping you keep that home group close?
Yeah, so immediately that first weekend, that churches in North Carolina, at least, and there's some cool things there. There's a lot of people who were limited to being able to be part of a group, whether it be because of the location, when maybe they didn't have access to a vehicle. But now, so immediately, our group shifted to a video chat model where they could tune in right there from their living room without leaving their home and stay connected. And so that's been the challenge, is how do you make a video chat feel personal, like it's personable for people. So
Well, you've mentioned to me multiple times as as being a group leader that this technology has helped us to deploy to kind of keep the congregation together, either via texting or the Zoom call or even voice memos. I mean, there's multiple ways to stay connected even without being able to be in front of each other, right?
absolutely, yeah, we use this language that we want communication to feel human. And so how easy is it to send a text and just not even know the tone behind the text? And so we really shifted this idea of everything feels human in the communication, whether it be a voice text, a video, how easy it is just to flip your phone around and send a video. But then, so in a group setting, we want it to be two-way. We don't want it to be, when you watch church online, because right now that's how most churches are. That's how they are right now, is online. And so it's very one way. And so you're receiving something from a video screen and you're not contributing back or having a dialogue. And so that's the beauty of a video chat model. We use Zoom as our go-to platform, and it allows for a good two-way conversation. People are getting used to it. People are really adapting to it. Even our youth, even our young people, are having a great time coming together via video chat. So it's really powerful. It's a powerful way to keep connected, and we're seeing more people than ever part of groups because it's really opened the door. And so you can really look at it as a downer that, that's all I can do. But when you see the power of being able to come together on a platform like this, it's really allows you to be more creative. So
How hard was it to deploy all of that to a congregation of 3,000? It's not like you could talk to every person and say, hey, get on Zoom, I'll see you at church. How did you get the word out?
yeah, so I mean that really speaks to the level of connection that our leaders have. And so, one, as a groups director, it is not my job to get people to attach to me or even our staff. There's a connection there, but really we want the leaders to have a relationship with their people. So it really came down to, hey everybody, instead of coming to my house tonight, we're going to meet on Zoom. Here's the link, and it was already built in. It's not something we had to really reinvent. I know in our day and age, some people had to really run to the fire, but I think we were kind of ahead of this in from a technology standpoint of just pulling the trigger and saying, hey, we're jumping on a different platform tonight. It's going to feel different. And some people were like, hey, I'll wait until we come back in person. But obviously, with how long it's been now, people are more like, okay, I'll tune in, I'll create an account, I'll pop online. And so it wasn't a huge shift, but it did take an effort by a lot of people. So
Do you feel like this vehicle is a way that even like schools can bring people in? I know they're talking about using this type of technology for classes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I know my kids, we're homeschooling my kids right now, and watching my 4-year-old interact with his class by video chat really kind of opened the eyes for me to say, hey, if he can do it and have a lot of fun doing it, when normally even in person he might be a little bit more shy, but it's amazing how he opened up on video. And so schools right now, to be able to have your class on Zoom, I think we're going to see people embrace it. I think it's going to be something that even when we do come back together, which we will, I think this is a tool that we've kind of embraced to be more of a norm and more of a, hey, why can't we come together online? Why can't we do a quick video chat? I know for me, my family lives in Arizona, and I pick up the phone and talk to them, but like, why can't I just get my whole family on a Zoom call? I can see their face now. It just enlarges your perspective a little bit, and it forces us to think beyond our box. That's why I think the season has caused that. So
Has the entire service and all that Elevation does moved online? Everything that you do is now an online service?
yeah, it's 100% online right now. So, and we were out in front of that back in 2011, 2012 when we launched our online platform. We've been reaching people from all corners of the globe for years now, and so really it was just a shift to say, okay, instead of showing up to your building, tune in online, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, all the different channels. I think we're just about everywhere. And yeah, so, and the church has embraced it, and so it's been a powerful way to keep connected. And we've seen even more people tune in than ever. More people are connected than ever because of this. And
Hmm.
so when normally you would see a decline, when you lose something like that, when you lose that connection in person, we're seeing an incline. And so it's been great.
Wow. Well, so you're using this technology to actually increase the viewership rather than decrease it.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
of convenience.
Was this a huge undertaking for the technical team of the church?
I think because of how we were positioned as a church, it well, I mean, I'm not in that room, but I would say of how we're positioned for it. There was definitely work that had to be done, but it wasn't. Some churches are having to reinvent the whole thing and have to really figure this out. But the way we were positioned, it was a quick move forward. And I think that very weekend we had everyone online the weekend that we were closed down. So um, yeah, I think, and even our e-kids, we've got a whole e-kids ministry now with our kids who have an online experience that they tune in live every Sunday. And it's powerful for sure.
So how do you feel like you're mentioning now? How has the congregation responded? Do you feel like they're joining in and staying apart? Do you feel like they're growing distant? Is it taking a while to get them to lock on?
It might be a little early to be able to say for sure. How I know a lot of people right now, I'm hearing more than ever how excited people are to be part of our church, and how excited and how cared for people are right now. You know, the people that aren't as vocal, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, the people who aren't tuning in, how they're feeling. Um, but I think there's this idea that, you know, there's always been this talk that church is behind the four walls. And we've always said we got to get beyond the four walls. And I think this proves that you don't need the four walls of the church building to be a church. You can be a church. You can invite your neighbor to come to your house and watch in your living room and have church service right there from your living room. You can bring your whole family around a TV screen or a laptop or an iPhone and have church service. And I think that just breaks the idea. And it may take some time for some people, but I think for the most part, people are really adapting to it and embracing it.
Wow. Well, I've attended church, of course, there for a couple of years now, and love being there, love being in the energy there. But it's been amazing being able to see that transfer to the screen and how people are adapting to this new world. It definitely can be a difficult move, but it's necessary. And I think now, as we have this new technology in place, as we begin to go back to our church services in the building, we'll have this as a secondary vehicle to keep people engaged and to be able to stay connected in the digital world. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, staying connected is critical. Whether it's in a church or not, like no one should be isolated. We were built, we were created to have community. That's when God created us. Like it was with the intention of community. And so if you're not in community, if you're isolated, you're completely outside of what we were built for. But at the same time, isolation doesn't have to look like, or not feeling isolated doesn't have to look like being in a crowd of people. You can feel completely connected and not be around a person, if that makes sense. And so, I would say to anyone, make sure that you do everything you can and embrace, get creative with how you can be connected, but not just over a text message, but through face to face. And so that's critical. That's what we want for everyone in our church, is not just to watch church, but connect, engage, be part of a group. Right now, it's really heavy. Everything that I'm doing right now is to drive people connect to a group community, because that's where you're going to feel surrounded by people. I can't imagine how this season is taking a toll on people's lives, that maybe they don't feel isolated. I feel pretty busy. I've got 3 kids running around, a wife at home. I don't feel
Kids, you're
isolated.
always busy, buddy. Forget it.
I don't feel isolated, but I know that there are going to be people who do feel isolated. And to whoever may be watching this, you're not alone.
Years that's brought us to the space where we can communicate like this and be able to have multiple people on a screen and everybody be able to see each other and talk has definitely brought us to the perfect storm right now, because essentially if we couldn't get to church, if we couldn't get to school, if we couldn't get out to our businesses, we'd have to communicate somehow, right?
Right. And I keep thinking back, not to bring the Bible into this too much, but I keep thinking back to the early church and how their only vehicle was letters that you would send to the congregation via, Paul built the early church from a prison cell by sending out letters. And so now we have this tool called Zoom, FaceTime. The digital age has really bridged people together. I can get on a video chat with someone in Nigeria. I know someone from Kenya joined an e-group at Lake Norman. And so we can be in communication with that person, help that person feel connected through this vast, if we would embrace it. But I think that's where it comes down to leaving what we looked at as normal, and we embrace what's ahead. Because the tendency is going to be, when this all is over, for people to go back to what was. And I think that would be a mistake if we went back to the way it was and not looked at, hey, where are we now? How is this? What's the new, not even the new normal, but how can we leave what was and embrace what's ahead? And I think we're going to be a completely different world coming out of this, and a different church. So
I think you said that perfectly, which leads to my next question because you kind of segued. Where do you see this new digital movement going post Corona? Like when Corona's all done and we're back to quote unquote whatever normal will be, because as you and I have talked about, there's a new normal coming. It's not going to be the same world it was before Corona. Will this ever be the same? Will church ever be the same?
yeah, it's a hard question to answer, because we've never had this happen. We've had stuff, we've had diseases, we've had things, but never in an age like this. It's really hard to say. Even as a church, I know that we are not trying to predict anything. We're taking everything day by day. We're trying to focus on what we can do now. What can we do today? What can we do? We're not looking at, hey, 6 months from now, what's the plan going to be? We're thinking about right now. And so, saying that, I feel like we're going to embrace technology a little bit more. I feel like we're going to bridge the two. We'll never as a church be a church that says we won't meet together in a physical location. I think that's always going to be a value in our church, but I think it is going to innovate. There was a time, Derek, when it was absurd to think of a church having multiple campuses.
Sure.
There was the time where it was absurd to think of watching online or watching from a satellite building of, so our church has 20 campuses, but we all tune in to one message happening from one location on a video screen sitting in a chair. If you said that back in 1995, people would be like, oh, that'll never happen. And so we're always looking at, if your eyes aren't open for innovation and thinking, what is coming next, you're just going to be stuck in the past. And so I think we're always open and willing to, hey, we're willing to leave what was behind. We're willing to, we're never normal. We use this language right now. There's no such thing as normal. We've never been a normal church. We've never been we've always lived in a place of of risk and boldness. So
Well, you said that perfectly. You said that the technology you guys have been using for quite a while. I mean, you've been simultaneously simulcasting your satellite to 20 different places so that people can see that very message, whatever's going on. So basically, you've been using the digital world for years now. Now it's just actually catching up with what you're doing because you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to take this message, send it to 20 different locations at the same time. Those people aren't even in the room with you, but yet they're getting your message." It's almost the same thing as you're doing now. You're saying, "Hey, I'm here, send my message across to Zoom. You're not in the room with me, but you're getting my message," right?
that's right. Yep. And when you have the campus built out, when you have these 20 campuses that are already in place and a team of staff that are already in place, you have that care structure. So I think it's really important. It's not just, hey, how many people can tune into a message, but I think, a really important aspect is how people feel cared for. I think back to Moses, when Moses took the Israelites out of Egypt and they left Egypt, Moses didn't try to care for 1 million people. It's impossible. It was chaos. And so he empowered people to care for others. And I think that's a critical piece of it in place. And so when this happened, it changed the role to, I'm not meeting with them in person, but now we're all essentially group directors. So
Wow, wow. So, what would you say to anyone who's really having trouble staying connected in this season? What would be your advice to them?
I think connection's right in front of you. If you'll see it, I think you got to see it, and you got to open your eyes and look around, and be careful what you're connected to. I know it's just as dangerous. You could easily connect to the wrong thing and send you on a tailspin spiral downwards, but it's available. Now more than ever, there's churches around the world that are doing the same thing. We're not by any means the only church that's doing this. There's churches everywhere in your community, whether you're watching from across the globe. There's churches everywhere that are now online, and so it's just a matter of getting out of your comfort zone. It might feel weird to pop into something, to a group that people you don't know, but if you're desperate for connection, like get connected to a community. You need to be around community. You
I
need to be
like
around.
it. Get connected. Get connected. And when I think about that, I think about this technology we're talking on now and how this can be used in so many different ways. Like I said, for schools, that teaching your children online, to being at home and learning a new skill, to communicating with friends and having maybe an online party or birthday party, whatever it takes to stay connected during this time as we pass through Corona. I think we're learning a lot of things. It's still making it a human contact, which is what we're looking for now, staying connected in this digital world. Well, man, I sure do appreciate you coming on board and talking to my friends out here in beautiful now live land. But if you have any passing words you want to pass on to people out there that are listening.
Gosh, I can't stress enough just this topic of connection. Don't let yourself be isolated. Yeah, we're supposed to be socially distant, but that's only physically. There's ways that you can connect, and just make sure you do. And I would encourage you, plug into a church community. Let your faith be built. Now more than ever, faith is needed, and so you need to have hope. You need to look ahead. You need to not allow yourself to live in a dim world, and get outside. It's springtime. It's beautiful out. Go outside, take a walk in the woods, hear the birds. Um, Allow your spirit to be lifted up. So
I
that's
love
what
it, man. Well, man, thank you for taking a few minutes, Derek. I know you're a busy guy with an enormous church gathering to take care of, but we appreciate you just stopping by and talking to us. And for everyone out there, please come back and see us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to talk about another topic that's relevant to you. And if you enjoyed what you saw today, put a like and on our page there, and subscribe to the channel Beautiful Now Project. So that's youtube.com/The Beautiful Now Project. Subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think. We sure do appreciate you, guys. Take care, guys. Wash those hands. Be safe. And let's take care of each other. Stay connected. Have a great one, guys. Take care.